Do you ever feel like you're just floating through life, but not actually getting closer to the person you want to be?
It usually happens around New Year. You imagine all of the bad habits you're going to break free from and all of the good habits that you will begin. This time will be different, you say to yourself. This time I am going to do the things that I said I will. Only to end up back where you began shortly after, and not getting closer to what you had envisaged. So the question is, how do you become the person you dream of? How do you break free from all of the bad habits and make the habits you desire easier and automatic? Well, this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, answers all these questions. And in this video, we're going to take a short review about this book. And if you feel this video is helping you out, I really encourage you to go out and grab yourself a copy of this book, because this book deserves a space in everyone's bookshelf. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
Imagine a plane taking off and traveling from New York to Los Angeles. And just before takeoff, you adjust the plane slightly by 3 degrees or around 80 inches. If you keep flying in a straight line, you would end up closer to Tijuana in Mexico than your intended destination of Los Angeles. The same goes for our habits. Tiny changes in our habits can change the trajectory of our life in ways that we can't even notice until many years into the future looking back.
This is what Atomic Habits are all about, showing you how small adjustment can lead to a massive transformation in your life in many ways that you can't even notice.
If you make tiny 1% improvements to something on a daily basis in the course of just 1 year, you'll end up being 37 times better. Now that's huge. Imagine 37 times better health, or even 37 times better finance. Even a fraction of that will significantly transform your life. Before we go to how successfully form new habits, let's look at your understanding of what success means. In the most common cases, success is driven by the outcome, by the end goal. You do whatever it takes to acquire a certain amount of money, to look in a specific way, or even date a specific person.
And while all that might seem perfectly acceptable and normal on the surface, it actually carries a lot of problems when you peel the layers off. The main problem with goal-driven behavior is that it tends to ignore the process of getting there and just concentrates on getting the final outcomes.
Like concentrating on winning a marathon instead of the system and the habits of becoming a better runner. You inevitably put yourself at a disadvantage. After all, both winners and losers have the same exact goals. Everyone wants to win the marathon. The ones who will come on top though are the ones who concentrate to be a long-last runner, not just to win a single run. Concentrate on improving your financial habits instead of buying the dream car, and you most likely end up buying it much sooner.
Well, now let's move on to how habits are actually formed. There are generally 4 stages: the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. It goes like this.
You work on a problem for school or a presentation for work, and you inevitably get bored. The feeling of boredom is your cue. You feel the need to entertain yourself, which is your craving. The response are you pull out your phone and check social media or watch Netflix. The reward is that a little tiny bit of distraction and entertainment you instantly receive. Checking social media becomes associated with the feeling of boredom and frustration. You repeat this enough times and you'll find yourself distracting yourself with your phone every time you find boredom.
Now let's learn about how to use the habits loop to your advantage to form some healthy habits. The 4 laws of behavior changes are to make it obvious, to make it attractive, to make it easy, and to make it satisfying. Start by making the cue obvious. If part of your New Year resolution is going to the gym every day, but you never set up a reminder on your phone or on daily calendar, you most likely forget to go more often than not. And if you make that cue the first day super obvious, you stand a higher chance to ending up at a gym. And the easiest way to make the cue obvious is a strategy called habit stacking. which means you will attach new habits to an already existing one.
You already have the habits of coming back from school, so stack the exercise on top of that. Every time you get back from school, you will head to the gym.
The next step is to make the craving attractive. If the craving is not attractive enough, you have no motivation to engage in the wanted behavior. If going to the gym feels like punishment, why bother? An effective tactic to use in this stage is something called temptation bundling.
You can only watch your favorite Netflix show while you're at the gym or only after you've completed the workout. By making it I only get to enjoy X while or after I'm doing Y, you make it exponentially easier for yourself to get things going much faster. So make that craving attractive.
Moving on to make the response easy. If going to the gym requires you to fight immense traffic, then you find a parking, then you find a locker, then you change, then you search for a machine, then you figure out the setting, and only then you get to actually exercise, you might be fighting an uphill battle.
Making it easier on yourself by removing as much friction as possible is key to forming that new behavior. Anything that you can do to remove any of the required steps will ensure the likelihood of you sticking to that new habit. If you want to start running in the morning, for example, lay out your phone, your clothes, your shoes, your keys, your water, whatever else you might need the night before. This way, in the morning, you just need to roll out of bed right into your running shoes. Making it easy also means not setting your goals extremely high. Instead of setting the expectation to run 20 minutes, set it up for 2 minutes. It sounds silly, but chances are you do way more than that once you engage in the behavior. But overcoming that initial obstacle is usually the hardest, so set the goals low enough to actually set yourself up for success.
And finally, make the reward satisfying. The easiest way to do this is to use reinforcement.
Keeping track of your successfully completed habits in a chart, in a calendar, or in your favorite habit tracker doesn't matter. When you visually see your accomplishment, you'll be motivated to continue acting in the same manner. Seeing your progress reinforces your identity of being someone who is healthy, or someone who makes good financial decisions. It is the final and deepest layer of habit formation. If you believe you're a healthy person, your habit, process, and outcomes will absolutely follow. Your goal is not to run 60 miles, but to become a runner. It is not to read 100 pages of a book, but to become a reader. The goal is not to quit cigarettes, but not to be a smoker. These might seem like little subtle differences, but they will completely alter the way you think and how and which habits you form.
Now you know how to form new, healthy, and sustainable habits. Make the cue obvious, make the craving rewarding, make the response easy, and make the reward attractive. And trust me, you'll be in your way in no time. We rarely stop to think about our own habits or plan for a long-term change when we start a new regime like going to the gym. The great power of atomic habits is the emphasis that it places on system rather than goals, identity rather than outcomes, and small habits rather than a drastic change. There isn't a precise answer to how long it takes to build a habit, because habits are not a finish line to cross, but a lifestyle to live. The key part to remember is that small habits compound. Atomic habits may be individually small, but collectively and given time, they could hold remarkable power and bring remarkable change to our life. That's all. Thank you so much for watching.